Hello, everyone. Welcome into quarter two of the year. If you saw the previous video with my lovely friend Macy, she talked about the energy of the overall year for 2021 based off of human design and her interpretation of it. And we also talked about quarter one's energy for the first kind of roughly 3 months. And so she is coming back to share about these next 3 months for quarter two. So Macy, thank you so much for coming back in. I'm always excited to have these chats with you. I feel like you have such a great read on energy and your interpretation of human design. So thanks again for coming in.
Thanks for your invitation, of course, and then thank you for everyone joining us today. And it's my pleasure to share more information about this year. That's so cool. Hopefully, we all have a very excited quarter one already. And let's move on. When we talk about like 2021 about the calling of focus, there are a couple of themes that we'll need to focus on for the whole year. It's a focus on the truth, your intuition, focus on the connections, focus on the quality rather than the quantity, and focus on the productivity through excitement. Okay, this is the main four theme that carry out through the year. But how does it carry through different quarters? That I'm going to recap on the quarter one first. So in the quarter one, so technically it's roughly from January 21st to April 22nd. So you just dissect it into three sectors, so that roughly you will get a very general idea. So from late January to late February or mid-February, because we have 28 days only. So we are talking about how focus on coping our emotional downtime. So we talk about how to do the self-care, how to inline back to our senses, how to help us to make decision. What is the decision? Because sometimes our head will give us some knowledge and some data and trying to help us to make decision very rationally. But then when it comes to intuition, sometimes it doesn't work in that way, right? We talk about how to tap back to our five senses in order to give us some idea on how to make the decision correctly. So, and then moving on to around late February to March, and then we talk about how to focus on our resiliency, facing the truth, okay? We have the emotion influx, the excitement, some downtime, a little bit downtime, not too much, but then how we bounce back to our normal balance, how to bounce back to our alignment. That is what we focus on. And we have the ride. Okay, I hope every one of you enjoy the ride and give you some insight and wisdom to move on, and rather than having some downtime too much or too long. But even though if you have some downtime for too long during that time, it's okay. We understand. We understand, because that is only like a stepping stone for us to move forward, right? To the focus that we are going to focus in mainly in April is the transformations against the controlling cosmic power or the energy that is surrounded to around us. So how do we transform? How do we find things that is not working to us? After you have the emotional flux, that you know the inner truth, something that you cannot compromise at all. You cannot. But how can you communicate that the principle that you're holding on, and then to work with, I'm not saying work against, with the cosmic energy, because we are also part of the cosmic energy. So rather than fighting back, so how can we assimilate ourselves to the cosmic energy, but at the same time holding on to our intuition, our truth? So this is the month that we found ourselves that we found that there's a new channel for us that we feel aligned with. We feel that there's some words that we may not be able to speak it out because we are too scared and trying to compromise to please everyone before. But then you just have the energy and then telling enough is enough, and it's about time for us to give out new messages, not new to you, but new to your audience to hear about that what has been holding on to you for so long, and what is the mojo behind your motivation, why you're doing stuff in a way that you've been doing, and why, and give such profound insight and inspirations to the artists, and telling them that we are stepping into a new era, and don't afraid to transform yourself in a way that you're afraid of before. Up to this moment, did I do all the concluding work quite well? I'm
I
super.
think you did fantastic, Mason. I love that you recapped everything for everyone just to kind of help us reflect back how these last couple months have been. And we're still in the energy of the tail end of quarter one. You know, it kind of goes through a lot of this month.
Yeah.
And even as you're speaking, I was really resonating with, you know, I know my truth and I feel I've been more inspired just to be really honest where I'm at and not even judge where other people are, but just more okay with speaking my truth about all different things. And I'm seeing that with a lot of people having that confidence within ourselves and our truth and being in that loving place. So what you're saying just really resonates with what I've been sensing lately. And I feel like, you know, those of you watching, you probably feel a sense of that as well, as Macy's kind of been speaking into this energy. No, that was great. Thank you, Macy.
You're welcome. One of the key things that I would like to draw all the audience attention is, like, when you sharing doesn't mean that you have to put up something onto others. Okay, it's just sharing a sharing. Okay, and that is very important. Otherwise, that you will trap yourself into those controlling cosmic energy as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, you want to
No,
talk about
I
it?
was gonna say that that's so key because it's not sharing to convince others or have them believe what you believe. It's just sharing like, oh, you know, I feel like in the past energy, and it's kind of come to a really tough confrontation right now where it's like, if you don't believe what I believe, everything about you is wrong. You know, I'm kind of seeing that in society with people. And I feel like it's kind of gotten out of hand in a lot of different areas where, you know, relationships have crumbled just because we don't believe one little area or like one certain thing that somebody else does. It's like they throw the whole person or the whole business, the whole situation out. And now it's like, no, this is just my truth. You're welcome to believe what you want to believe. So it's just more of an accepting way to be in your truth. And just, I feel like it keeps my mind open when I'm able just to understand where other people are, and not feel like they have to convince me or I have to believe what they believe, but I'm able to kind of question where I'm at and then see, you know, if I want to keep what I align with or if I want to look at other perspectives.
Yeah, because the transformation for this year particularly is internal.
Mhm.
That is the foundation. How strong? Like, it's a testing to us as well. Like, sometimes you may lose the balance and try to control others in order to, like, give you the confidence in thinking that your principle is is the right one. But bear in mind, this year is more internal transformations rather than putting impacts to others. You inspire people, but then not impact on people. Let's wait until 2023. Okay, that is more more on that. So, okay, but then this year is more aligned with internal transformations. And so let's build up a very good foundations about ourselves first this year. Feel good about yourself, feel good about what the experiment that you are doing, and then find the excitement, find your vibe, and carry on, carry on. Okay.
Yeah, the people I've been working with, students, clients, a lot of people have really been confronted with what their value system is and what they believe is true for themselves. And I feel like this 2020 started the trend, and I feel like it's kind of carrying through now for them to really, like you're saying, it's more of that internal awareness on their values, what's important for them, how are they spending their energy. So makes total sense.
That's a little recap on Q1, okay? And let's move on Q2. So Q2 is about the time between like April 22nd to July 21st. And then the three sections that we are going to focus on is first, it's a focus of planning, okay? And how do you lay out your intuitions into plans, okay? And then the second one is about the focus of observation. The observations, particularly before you take the action, okay? So it's about time that how's your habits is helping you or blocking you. So it's a habits reviewed time, okay? If you don't have that, well, you just find that the cosmic energy is so interesting. Even though you don't have that mood to do that, sometimes things will happen and push you into that directions. So don't feel stressed. Just go with the flow. Okay, just go with the flow. And then the third section is talk about reality. Okay, so focus on the reality. What is the mundane hardship? So let's dive deep a little bit for each section. So for the first one, when you see like focus of planning, what do you think, Yaila? What do you think?
Focus on planning. So it's almost like when I hear that, I think of what my intuition's kind of naturally telling me are my values. And right now I've been looking at where am I spending my energy and looking at what needs to take precedence. So I'm kind of like planning where I'm really going to allow that energy to be. And some of the other stuff that, could be fun, or maybe I was spending some energy, I'm just kind of like you're saying, severing is a big part of this year. So those places where it kind of feels like it's not part of my main focus, I'm just kind of cutting that energy out for the time being and just trying to make clear plans and focus on those main things that I'm really trying to work on this year.
Sure.
Like there's been a lot of stuff I've been clearing out these last couple months.
That's nice, so nice. So because like back to this focus of planning, the backbone of it is like to put your principles, okay, into a material plane. So like some people, they may think a lot, they talk a lot, but then what is it? What is the plan? Okay.
What are
So
they doing?
yeah. So
I've had conversations with people about this. I'm like, you're saying it, but I'm not seeing it. And I realize that myself too. So it's not just
well,
you.
just wait a little bit, one more week or two more weeks. It's fine. Okay. Something will happen. Yeah. So it's about planning. So how to work about your inner truth, the answer. So you know the answer already now. Okay. You should have a very good grasp of what you really, what's the inner truth are. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's an illusion or it's the truth. Okay. If it is the illusion, make sure you like dump it, not working on it anymore because it's not part of your planning. But if you know that where's the inner truth is real based on, start working something on it. Okay. That the answer will be the key motivations for you to work within this month, 4 weeks time or 5 weeks time. Okay, roughly that period of time, and based on that answer, then you will know because one of the key theme in this month is about material plane. So there will be some investment for you to do to look at, like how would you like to work on your answer, in what way, in what channel, and of course through this working process, you will find that there's a lot of summarizations that you can get, the conclusions you can get even from inside yourself, and say that, oh, I realize that why it's been so important to me, this answer. And then it's a time for reviewing as well and summarize that. Oh, and through the summarizations that you get to understand that, oh, I need to plan in this way. Step one is like this, step two is like this, and step three is like this. So that you can recognize that, in fact, through this planning, you are gradually, even though that the main theme is for this year is for internal truth, okay? But at the same time, you find that you are able to create a small community or even expand your community with some like-minded beings together. And this is the key excitement that you are able to find in this first section. Because this year, one of the things that to affirm what you're doing is right is your excitement. If your planning is working on somehow, like gradually by the end of the month you find, hey, how come some people will look for you for something that you would like to share? And because this month is a very good month, okay, is a very relatively compared to others month, is quite peaceful, a lot of inner work, and then eventually give you a final touch with some excitement because people will come and look for you, and hopefully you can share some, starting to share some of your insight, okay, just sharing, okay. I have to bear in mind, like sharing, please don't get too much in attachment to it, because it's just a start of sharing. So how do you feel?
I think that sounds great. And as you were speaking, I was kind of hearing like inspired action this month. So when you're talking about being excited, it's like we're going to be inspired to speak about what we're doing. We're going to be inspired to act on what we're getting excited about. So I just kind of see this nice momentum starting to build as you're speaking, is kind of the visual
Correct.
I got.
And one of the key things that I would like to remind all of us is like about our integrity
Hmm.
for these sections. So because of course this is when you're able to get on the ride, you will have that kind of like kind of rewarding showing in your material plane. But at the same time, if there's a couple of signs that you will find, then maybe it's about time for you to revisit your planning as well. So if you find yourself like spending the money on like those that it doesn't work at all, okay, it's a very true sign in this month. And also you found that the foundation that the inner truth that you hold in yourself is, you find it's a little bit shaky, even within yourself, then ask about yourself, like how much integrity you are in line with in your answer. Sometimes the answer for you, yeah, you grabs it, but then at the same time, if if the level of integrity that is not sufficient enough, okay, that may be only part of your answer, but not the core. Because on and off, we will have a lot of answers, right? But then the last video that I did touch on that is this year is very special. Is sometimes like the answer has to be pops up repeatedly, right? I mentioned it last video, like
Yep.
so if you just grabs on one answer that doesn't work for in the long term, then some signs will show up, and then you feel yourself like, why is it like shaky, why I cannot find the foundation, why can I cannot be grounded, okay. So this is the sign that when you find that is a little bit like doubting yourself, asking yourself a lot of questions, then it's about time to review your planning. And that is the last step before you move on to the action, because the next sections is the key focus is on action. But there's one tiny little steps that you need to do is the observation before action. So in the second sections, you can see that there's a lot of real work going on. Okay, so because people are inviting you, you will talk more, you will bring up your more leadership because you plan yourself, you feel more confidence. So in the second section is one of the things that a couple of questions that I would like to ask is like, can you hear your audience, what they really need? Okay, when you do the planning, you help yourself, like you plan for yourself. But right now, before you take the action, you need to lay back a little bit yourself to observe. What's the audience really need? What's the surrounding needing you to do something? Not just about yourself anymore. How would you like to put out in a certain format? Is there any way that you think is more efficient and help you to convey your inner truth in at that moment? Okay, this month is more on the size the moment month. Okay, so long-term planning may not be suitable for this month, but it's helping you to tap back to the like that spontaneous moment. What is the format? Will that format will help you to sustain? Okay, that is the internal questions. Sustain is of course is talking about more long term, but in the sustainability that we are talking about in this month particularly is about your health. It's not about your planning, because your planning should be all good to carry on, but and also able to help you to work spontaneously at that moment. But then the sustainability that we're talking about is about your health, because this month, because of the planning, because of the networking, you tend to like use your throat energy a lot. And the throat energy is very crucial for you to bring up your leadership. And sometimes if you overuse, your health will tell you. And also like in the first video, I also talk about like the oral sense, the
The
tongue and the mouth.
sensation, yeah.
Yeah, is a very key factor for this year. So this month, if you find yourself like your throat is not healthy, you get very easy to get dry or sore, or your your whole respiration system is not functioning properly. So you observe that and see what you can do extra before you take further action. Because the theme of this sections is also about habits, right?
Mhm.
So this must be something that you may need to discern. It's not working for you anymore. So, and of course, like afterwards, like then I will ask you, like after like you know that what is sustainable, which is not sustainable for you, then the other things that you may need to think of is like how to distribute at that moment what aligned with you. Okay, you may plan a lot in the first section, but then when it comes to action, what is the best for you at that moment?
And then you're saying it's going to be based off of, we'll know it kind of based off of our health, how it feels, how it, just like the inner senses we're getting, or how are
Right.
people going to know
Yeah,
the best action?
yeah, through your intuition. So that's the core
Cool.
on the second section. So habits reveal. Um, if it is not working, it's about time to discern it, or and pick up some new habits that you find the excitement that you find the energy that you are able to fulfill yourself automatically, not relying on external thing. Is more internal, like your internal excitement will help you. Oh, okay, I really want to do it, I really want to keep it on, I really want to keep it on. But then at the same time, is it I just want to keep it on without concerning my health? No, that will help you to tap back to your own rhythm and your own pace. If you need to rest, you need to rest. That
Yeah,
is something
big
that
one.
is interesting, right? And
Mm,
then one of the keywords that I would like to stress about is, like, if the first sections is about integrity, the second sections is about simplicity.
love that.
Of that, right? So
Hmm.
sometimes, like, you just don't need to do something too complicated for your planning.
Keep it simple.
You must have very good, like, methodologies or anything to techniques to share with our audience, right?
Of course, there's always stuff people can stay posted with as far as keeping it simple. Going back to what you were talking about, just feeling it for those people who feel like they're not always as sharp on their intuition and what they're being guided. One of the easiest ways is we feel it. We feel when something feels, we're excited, it feels expansive, we feel in the flow. That's always alignment. If it feels tight, I call it crunchy, constricting, crunchy, like, ugh, like you're forcing it, you're not in the flow. That's usually misalignment. And so that's even things that you want to speak about, things that you want to do, people you want to see. Um, like you're talking about habits that you're realizing just aren't working anymore. And as you were speaking, I was also hearing um, if there's something that you want to do, but maybe there's not a flow, but you're still inspired to want to keep down that journey, it's looking at a different approach to it. And I kind of heard you speak into that a little bit, but that really just resonated when you're speaking about it. I'm like, oh, so people are going to be discovering maybe a new approach to what they're trying to make work, even though it wasn't really flowing, but they're still inspired to go after it. They're going to ask themselves a different approach.
Yeah, allow yourself to switch, okay?
Mhm.
Allow yourself to switch. That's why otherwise that the second section will be focused on action. I will just ask you to do. But why we have to put a tiny little steps before the actions for observations is allowing yourself to switch. Because this month is there's a lot of testing in this month. Okay, testing what is working, testing what is not working, and give you further affirmations about, like, hey, no, this habit
Mhm.
is not working anymore. Okay, come on, please. And that's why moving
Yeah.
you on to the third sections is focus on the reality. Okay, sometimes people, like, they're pushing too hard, and then because it's one of the I think is it also one of the key thing that our parents or our society teaching us, just push hard, push hard, and you will get it, and you will get it, and you will get it, right?
Yeah.
Then in the reality sometimes is hard. I fully understand. But if that is the key thing, most people, they if they just focus on the hardship and they don't see the other side of the coin, right?
Mhm.
And so that's why, like, of the third sections, one of the methodologies that I will ask people to think about is the reverse engineering. Very simple. Okay, it's, it's I'm not saying it's going to be easy, because changing habits is not easy at all. Okay, but this year, even though you're not willing to change it, okay, something will force you to change it. Like, I would say that I've been holding on myself not to do any prescription, because I'm afraid of wearing bifocal glasses. It's a sign of aging, okay? but unfortunately, I cannot stop doing it anymore. And then I have my first prescription, and you know what? It feels so good. And you can't tell. And I'm amazed with the technology and then also the product we have right now. You can't tell, okay? I'm wearing
Mm.
bifocal right now.
Nope,
And you can't tell. You can't tell.
would
So
never know.
yeah, rather than like holding on to some old beliefs, and if you find it's not working anymore, just enjoy the excitement you're going to have if you're willing to explore the other side of the world.
I love how you're saying that too, because kind of how a lot of us are raised. It's like just keep pushing, keep, work hard, it'll pay off. And there is some truth to that. And but
Yes.
more on the side of don't give up on a dream, right? If there's something that you're passionate about, you don't want to give up on it. But at the same time, it doesn't always have to be so hard.
Yeah.
If we're constantly um, beating ourselves up or feeling down or in resistance and just feeling stuck, there can be another way to do it without giving up what you're really passionate about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like after having a very peaceful sections like in April and then in May, you take some actions. Uh, I would say like near the summertime can may not be an easy month for most of us. That is not just for you, okay? So don't take it personally. First of all, you have some playmates. No worries. and and the energy is fulfilling with uncertainty and a little bit of struggles, and then you feel like you may need to start over again, but then you know what, I always use the word that is only a testing, and testing on how you're holding on back to your inner truth. This is the whole year theme, right? And we cannot get away with. And then because the reality is the one of the facts that Fox related to reality is about security. So this word will pops up in your mind quite a lot in the summertime, like how secure we are right now. Okay, and interesting enough, there's a lot of traveling energy within that month. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but at the same time, I can see some lonesome as well. Traveling, lonesome. I don't know, but I'm more than happy to not to say a lot here, but then rather than just look at the fact by that time. But it's also like at the same time, I can see some excitement vibe over there as well. That is the trigger point. If you are able to find or to ground it back to your principle of your own security, okay, the security is not being judged by others, okay. Some people think that they may need to have like properties, or they need to have their stocks, their liquidations, or whatever, equity or whatever. If that kind of material thing is your own security thing, yeah, go for it and take the vibe and then carry on with what you're doing. But if on in contrary, this is not something that you rely on to have your security, because some people they don't at all. Don't try to self-sabotage yourself and say that, oh, why I don't have the same reality same as others. Okay, focus on the reality is talking about your own reality, not about the rest. Talk about the security and the long time and the traveling. It seems that it's not mingling together very well to each other, because traveling, lonesome, security. Why is it like putting those three things together? It doesn't make sense. But then this month, if you allowed yourself to have sufficient alone time and focus on the reality of your internal truth, okay, then you will know, like you may have a chance to realize that your security can move around in a way that is that is different from others. I don't know whether you get what I mean for now, but then it's like a wandering journey for you, okay, to feel and then to map up the foundations of what reality and security really means for you. That's a recap
Mhm.
after the 2 quarters, right? This is the final recap, and you feel okay, grounded. And that is very important because you're going to move on quarter 3 and quarter 4. Lots of excitement, of course, but then the last sections of each quarter is always come up with the conclusions. So after what you plan, after what you act, after you review the reality, with a little bit of hardship being encountering, how do you feel about your own self security? And also, it is a reflection of your own confidence in dealing with all the shocks or the uncertainty, right? And how to start over with a new plan or start over with the same plan that you have been planning for yourself, but in a new way, maybe. Or just put a little bit of refinement, and that's enough.
I'm just excited to see the next couple months for people how it shows up, because when you're speaking about discovering their security not based off of outside things, but really based off of their internal world, it just made me think back about the last couple of years of my journey, really having to discover where I let my mind go, what beliefs I was believing, what steps I was able to create in my mind and then take in my life based off of my inner truth, my inner knowing. And so it makes total sense for me. And I'm just really excited to see how this shows up for other people when they learn true security, not based off of other people or outside things, but what makes them secure within themselves. When things aren't going how they're planning, where do you go in your mind? What beliefs are repeating over and over? And then if you catch yourself going down a road that didn't align for you in the past, how do you switch it? How do you catch it? And I feel like as we practice this the next couple months, we'll probably start to catch it quicker and quicker, as far as like, oh, is that really my truth? Is that really where I'm trying to go? And then you're able to make these quick adjustments based off of what's showing up and just decide, like, do I still want this? Yes, no. If it's a yes, how can I make it work? If it's a no, how do I get rid of it? And how do I switch gears? So it sounds like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but it feels also like people are going to really discover their true confidence and their true inner power
Correct.
in these next couple months.
One of the examples that I would like to use over here is, you know what, when I do the coaching, that I coach different kind of people as well, right? And some of them, like, even they are CEO, and then they're with certain respect. Most people would think that, oh, okay, they have lots of money and they are able to solve their own problem, and then blah blah blah. But then you know what? Like, it's not. No matter how much money they're holding into their account, they still have their own struggles, and their own struggle cannot be
Mhm.
solved by money at all. At all.
Yep.
It's so true to me. So that's why when I talk about that, like, focus on the reality is your own reality. Like, even I'm in guilt giving you $1 million, okay, and what I see, like, for people that may have a relatively richer, but then their responsibility on their shoulder is way more than what other people do as well. Like, their expenses, their corporations, the size, their structure is totally different. So that's why sometimes, like, look at your own book. I will always ask people, look at your own book, like, what you really need. And one of the things that we talk about a lot of time is we are all supported. we are all supported to do what we want to fulfill in our mission and in our inner truth. And sometimes it's not about like just money, right? I just feel like so true lately to myself. Like I believe in that, but then recently I believe in more and more in that. Ask yourself, like, where's your joy? Where's your excitement? And then when you have the downtime, tap back to that excitement, tap back to that vibe, and then go for it. And if you need help for some reason, always reach out. This is why we are here for each other. And that's the key part, right? And then you will find, oh, in your own reality, you got friends, you got resources, you got lots of support, and tap back to that wandering in journey. You don't feel alone anymore.
Mhm.
But how to grasp that idea is through the lonesome, right? Some downtime, some alone time. Then you realize that, oh, okay, in fact, I'm not lonely.
Yep.
I'm not alone.
So true.
Oh, true.
So true. And I'm just reflecting back to, and Macy, you and I were friends at the time. And one of the hardest times in my life was just a couple years ago. And I was really recalibrating, my faith in myself and other people in, universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it. I didn't really feel like I had that much faith. And it was a really tough year. And so as you're speaking, it made me think about, people as they're on this journey, we're always going to be confronted with different life situations. There's going to be a refinement. There's going to be changes that we always get to make. But even those times when I find myself really lonely, because it happens still from time to time, and maybe a situation's not working out how I was hoping it would or wanted it to, and then I just go back and like, you know what? Universe always has my back. What if this is happening for me, not against me? And it kind of helps me shift the way I'm thinking about it. Like, okay, well, maybe this is a misalignment. So what is more, it helps me redefine what I really want and what's really valuable for me. So I feel like, for those of you watching, when you hit those tough spots and you're having that downtime, you're having maybe those lonely thoughts or questions and wanting to know what resources do you have, what support do you have, who do I reach out to? That's helping you redefine what you really want for yourself and who and what is in alignment with you, and you can connect stronger with that. So lots to learn.
Always tap back to the main theme that we have this year is about discernment and suffering. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a clearing process as well.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Not always easy, but worth it in the end.
It'll just give you more space.
Yep. Well, thank you so much, Macy. I just love these conversations with you. Again, I can't say enough, just how you look at the human design chart and how you interpret energy is just really inspiring to me. And I resonate with it so much when you talk about different things. I know last time, focusing on the gratitude and the joy, is there anything we're leaving off that you wanted to make sure the audience connects with? Any last little thoughts?
You always ask me some interesting question. So for this quarter, what I will ask, like, the direction. So what is your direction? What are you, where are you heading to? Where is your target? What's your finishing line? Just imagine that.
Thank you again, Macy, for joining us today and sharing your insights and your wonderful wisdom. I just love speaking about this topic with you. Where is the best place if people would like to connect with you? Where can they find you?
People can connect with me through my webpage. My webpage is yinyangpower.com. It's YINYANG power, POWER.com. Or you can connect with me with IG, Instagram, that I recently realized that we can connect in that way. And my account number should be at YIN yang.power, Power. So
Wonderful.
we connect from there, and if anyone interested in their own personal like human design chart, feel free to reach out to me. And then obviously, if you are able to find me, you can also find me through Yaila.
Absolutely. I've
Yeah.
had my chart, my human design chart read by Macy, and it was my first experience with human design, and it was incredible how she's able to piece the information together. So it's helped me. I refer back to it all the time. Thank you again, Macy. For those of you who need to get a hold of me, you can find me at Yaila on Instagram. Yaila, or my website, yailaweddle.com, ILAWEDDLE.com, or the school I teach through, Intuitive Insights, at myintuition.net. So thank you all for joining Macy and I. Macy, always wonderful to chat with you. And hopefully we'll see you for quarter 3 next time.
Sure.
Thank you, Macy. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.